I have linked the working group form document in the chat. I can link it again. If you have any topics you'd like to add, please do so. We can get the recording started at any point that you'd like. We don't have a ton of topics right now, but feel free to add them via the document or in Zoom chat. I can add them for people. But once again, thank you for attending the bi-weekly CF on Kubernetes working group forum, and we'll get rolling on the topics. So the first one we have is, I believe, from Julian in absentia, is a logging format proposal. There's a document link there. We can go to silent reading if you'd like for a few minutes, and then sort of start to talk about it. Also provides a few minutes for everyone to add topics or think about if there's anything they'd like to bring up. Usually how we do the silent reading is you shut off your webcam, and then when you're ready to come back, you re-enable it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that so I can read this really quickly, and I'll join you again for a few minutes. For those of you that are just joining us, we're looking at the document, and there's a proposal about logging that we're looking at. I can link both of those directly, and we're just doing sort of, you might tend to be muted. I'm not sure. But anyway, so I'm adding the links to the chat so everyone can go read it. The normal procedure is you turn off your webcam while you read it, and then we come back and all that. But feel free to do whatever you want. Alrighty. So the proposal in brief is about how we should standardize all of our logging formats and what information we should contain in that and how we should structure it. So the gist of it is that it would be nice to sort of have all the information we want in a machine readable format and sort of align everything within that. So I'll let anyone else that has an opinion about that kick it off before I offer my thoughts.
Looks perfectly all right to me. It's definitely good to have consistency. The format seems sensible, so no objections really. Definitely an improvement.
And some of the bad examples, it had logging coming through from like controller runtime. Hopefully it's easy enough to go and make that use the same logger as us. In that Arena example, it was trying to do a leader election, wasn't it?
And we use their like pre-made code for that.
But I think there's a method where you can tell it which logger to use, and that should do the trick.
I mean, it's generated code, isn't it? I mean, I guess up top point, yes, and then it's library code.
Yeah, so that is one aspect that I hadn't really thought as much about, but we can kind of explore that and hopefully find out what the bounds of the logging format are in the controller. But in general, I think it's a good idea to keep everything pretty well standardized, and having a machine readable format is always good because you can have, anyone can write their own parser to extract the information rather than just magic strings. So personally, I think it's probably a good idea to move forward with this and sort of explore. But I would be happy to hear other pitfalls because, as you mentioned, some things have their built-in loggers, so we would have to figure out how to configure those. So yeah.
Yeah, we have a bunch of ideas. Like we have a bunch of ideas of changes we'd like to make around logging. This is one of them. I think that we should have proposals about other stuff as well. Like in general, login style, like deciding when and what to log. And then we have the one about like, I guess we've already done some work on the, what is it? The unique ID being, how's that called?
The correlation ID.
Correlation IDs.
Added.
We have something already though. So maybe that's fine.
Yeah, this one touches a little bit on what to log. At least it says don't log client level errors, and definitely, I don't think we're logging any secret contents, but it hammers home. Don't do that.
Yeah, it's like, it's one of the classical thing that like you kind of neglect a little bit at the beginning, and then you have to go back and through the whole code base and be like, okay, let's review all logs and see if they make sense.
Yeah. Structure wise, this all makes sense to me. It's just like a hybrid of what we've moved to with a lot of the CF for VMs components and their date time format, along with how Kubernetes like JSON logs look. So that sounds good.
Cool. Well, I then think we'll probably move forward with that and just sort of explore out, get some more information, and it should, regardless of where we end up, it should be progress in the right direction. So cool. The other topic I see, if we're done discussing logs, is use of eventReporter and controllers.
Yeah, so we started writing a task reconciler this morning. That's just creating an Arini task object, and then you see the job get created. There's lots of things that can go wrong there because the task needs an app ref on it. The app ref needs to exist. The app needs to exist with that ref. The app needs to have a current droplet on it. That build needs to exist. That build needs to have a droplet image on it. As you go through those things, I mean, your code has to take different paths, and you can return the error and try again, and you can log it, but it's not particularly useful for the user. I was just thinking how you see that when pods go wrong, like, it can't grab the image to run the pod, and you describe it in kubectl or K9s, and you see the event saying, here's a whole load of user information saying that I can't grab this image from this repository, credentials are wrong, or can't ping it. And it turns out that's really easy to do with controller runtime. The manager thing has a method on it saying get eventReporter 4, and you just pass it some string. And then you can just call event and event F on that, passing in your object that you're reconciling, and it goes and shoves events on it. And it deals with all the nasty stuff you have to do. Like if you send the message twice, it's got to go and patch an existing one and increment the counter on it. You don't have to worry about all that stuff. So we've written one of those before in Arini, which did all that nasty work, and it was a pain. And we clearly missed that thing that exists in controller runtime already that does it all for you. So I think it's a really good opportunity to get some user-friendly debug information out for when things are going slightly wrong. So it's not the sort of stuff that would go into a status when it's just like, task is failing. It's more like, here's something that's failing at the moment because of these reasons, and when we retry it might go away, but it gives people an idea of what's going on. So yeah, I don't know, just suggesting that it might be a useful thing in all our different resources and reconcilers.
Yeah, that sounds pretty nice. If there's a built-in library for this, then I think we should definitely leverage all that. So I will personally go explore that because I'm not as familiar with it. But yeah, I would say find the areas where we need to sort of work on this and open issues, and let's go ahead and look at if it makes sense to update them.
And maybe we can encourage people like KPAC to adopt it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a bunch of things that we log, but it's not that useful to log them because we would actually like the users to see them, and the users don't usually have access to our controller logs. So it would be better to, I mean, we can still log them, but it would be good to also surface them via this, because it seems to be the only way, given like how asynchronous the whole thing is, seems to be like the only way to kind of surface issues. Like, I mean, when we use the Kubernetes native resources, that's what we do. Like when we look at stuff on K9s, etc., that's what we look at. We look at the events. If things are going wrong, are not working, That's literally the only way we can get any sort of info. So it would be nice if we used it across the board on our resources as well.
Yeah, I think the system tidies up nicely as well. So these things, I think they only last an hour or something, and then they'll be
Right, there's
garbage collected or something.
automatically collected. Nice.
Cool. Well, we can definitely sort of start doing that and hopefully ask our friends in components to also look at that sort of thing. So I think it's worth leading the charge on that. So yeah. Cool. Thank you, Anonymous Otter, for adding a link in there.
Yeah, it's weird that it's calling me that because I logged in, but it still like tells me I'm anonymous like every other second. I don't know what's up with it.
I'm sorry it's doing that to you, Tim. But I thank you for your contribution, whether in human or otter form.
Cool. Yeah, that's our PR. Okay.
Cool. I don't see any other topics, so the brief one I will add on just for funsies is that we had a release 0.1.0.
Oh, we haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we should talk. Should talk about it.
So, major milestone for us to have a release out there for people to play with. Still very much in active development, obviously. So a lot of things are going on, but we kind of reached the point where we felt like we could drop it out for people to like play with, experiment with, and give us feedback so that we can continue evolving the product. That's got all of the basic functionality we wanted. But you know, there's always room for improvement. So if you find some rough edges, please let us know. Join us, contribute, open pull requests, whatever you feel like. Yeah, so I just wanted to drop that in there. That hooray, we got a release out there, the first of many. So congrats to everyone that's worked on it, and thank you for your hard work. And I hope we can continue charging ahead and making it the best product we can.
Yeah, I saw an issue from a few days ago complaining about the install instructions, because the install instructions mention like they kind of refer to files that come in the tarball that you download from the release page, but the person was trying to use just a checked out copy instead, like a Git copy, which will not have those files because those are generated. So I wonder maybe we need to update the install instructions to make it very clear that you need a released tarball, not a checked out copy, because the checked out copy doesn't work that way. I pointed them to the hacking file. I don't know how up to date that is, but like if you want to use the checked out copy, that's what you should do. Like the flow is different. You need to use the make file and stuff. But yeah, other than that, I guess pretty good. I manually tested the install instructions on that tarball, so I know they work. So from the so yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a point where we want to shore up any weaknesses, is to make sure our instructions are at least clear, if not the most simple for people to follow. So
I mean, it's cool. It means someone actually tried to install it.
Yeah,
so that's good
true.
news.
Yeah. So we'll try to think about that going forward. Try to keep an eye out for making sure our instructions are at least helpful. So, but like you said, at least if you follow the release tarball flow, that they work. So we'll just have to keep improving there. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome work, everybody. Really happy that got cut. And sorry if we pressured you a little bit on cutting the release when there were a couple articles came out like 2 days before saying that it had been released. But anyway, it's all good now. And yeah, congratulations, everyone. Also, I will mention that we are definitely planning on going to KubeCon Detroit. So hopefully lots of you can attend that and work the booth on the floor. Ram and I should be there. Some folks from Paketo should be there. Hopefully lots of Cloud Foundry folks will be there for the Cloud Foundry event. And also the CFP for KubeCon Detroit closes on June 3rd, which is very, very soon. So if you have been thinking about putting anything in, or if you can get something together in the next few days, that'd be great. That'll save your employer some money on the KubeCon ticket, among other things. It'd be great to, get a talk or two approved. So yeah, that's that. We haven't actually even signed anything on the event yet, but that is going to happen. It's still early, but we'll make that more public with the Cloud Foundry community in the next week or two.
Awesome. Excited to hear that. Should be fun to get it into the community and have some fun palling around with everyone. Yeah, KubeCon's always a great time. I see in chat a message from Paul. Thank you so much for your comment. Paul decided to take around and play with it and found that on a local install on a MacBook Air of kind, it installed in under 7 minutes, which is, always a good experience when you can install these things in less than an hour. Yeah, so awesome. Thank you for the comment, Paul. That's awesome. I hope you continue to experiment with it. So yeah. If there are any other comments or questions, topics people would like to add right now, please make it known. If not, then we'll kind of take a little break for the next week and change until we come back, hopefully with some feedback from the release and some new exciting topics to pursue. All right, I'm not seeing too many panicked faces or a flurry of chat. Somebody go ahead and say thank you for your time for attending. We'd love to see you all again in 2 weeks, and just have a great time, and feel free to leave any comments in the Slack channel or on issues on the repo or anything like that. We'd love to hear from you. We want to make sure we're doing the best we can for you. So yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.